Welcome everyone, welcome back to episode 5 of TreeCoin's podcast. Now today it's just me, Sylph. I'm here in the studio by myself. My co-partner's off at an awesome conference, and so we're going to answer some questions from the audience. And I've got 2 really cool questions that have come in. So the first one, and these are all around tech, so I'm the tech lead. This is really good timing. First one, very simple. What is a blockchain? So, blockchain, for those who aren't tech native, I'll describe this in a way that's hopefully pretty consumable, pretty bite-sized. So, in information world, we have to have a way of storing the information somewhere, some type of library, some type of register. Imagine if you had a whole bunch of friends and you all had a key to a house, but you had a number on the key 1, key 2, key 3, key 4, and you wanted to have a place where you could know who had key 1 and when did you give them key 1. So these days, most people would know things like a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet or a Google Docs spreadsheet. So a database where you'd have some columns and fields, and you'd write Billy, good old Billy, key 1, gave Billy the key on the 1st of February 2025, and the key will come back. It's got for 6 months. And then, next line, it says key 2, Samantha, Billy and Samantha, my 2 favorite random imaginary people, gave Samantha the key on the 30th of January 2025. And so you keep this like a register. So most people are probably going to get that. One of the questions is, where do you keep this register? Is it just a book? Is it a piece of paper? Is it something that you keep on a computer? If you do, who has access to the register? And is it something that's public? Like, could anyone view the register? Some registers probably shouldn't be public. Some registers should be public. Lots of these philosophical questions. But blockchain, where blockchain comes in, it says, what if we had an internet database? It's a way of keeping a register of whatever information we want. It could be key 1 and Billy and key 2 and Samantha. It could be someone's account details of like a certain number of coins and dollars, tokens that are moving up and down in an account. It could be vehicle registration, like it could be number plates and who that they're associated to. It could be real estate. It could be a particular title, a georeference for a house block, and the known owner or the legal owner of that. It could be anything you want. So blockchain is really just taking a spreadsheet or a register, and it puts it on the internet, but it puts it on the internet in a really important way. With a piece of paper, if I record all this information in just a document, there's only one copy and it has to live somewhere. So if it lives at my house, then how do you know that I'm not changing the information in the document to suit me? How do you know that if I charge a late fee, or if I say, hey, Billy's going to have a late fee if he drops the key back, and we're going to agree that the key is dropped back on the 1st of April, and you know that, and I know that, it's $100 a day late fee because it's an expensive key. What if then you come back on the 1st of April and I say, well, you're a week late, and you go, no, I'm not. And then we go to the book and I've changed it, and it says that actually the key was due back a week ago, and now you owe me $700 for 7 days of late fee. And you're like, and you argue, but that's not what was true. And I say, well, can you show me your copy of the register? And you go, nope, because you're the one who looks after that. And this is where blockchain comes in to solve a really important problem in trust. So it's not one person who has a copy of this register. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people and computers all have identical copies of these registers, and they're spread across all the computers that take part in that network. They're called nodes. And all the computers, they check against each other every time there's a new record written. So every time that someone adds new information, let's say, to the register, then all of the previous information that all the other computers agree on, that has to be correct in the new update. So with Bitcoin, for an example, Bitcoin updates every 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, there's a new block, a new amount of information is written and uploaded to the register. And it will show any of the changes in the balances between that 10 minutes. If I transfer 1 Bitcoin to a friend, then 10 minutes later, or at the next block, it'll show that change. But all the transactions that have happened right back since 2009, they all have to be correct. And if my computer, if I try to be cheeky and change and say, yeah, I transferred 1 Bitcoin, but let's up my number of Bitcoin by 50,000 all of a sudden. If I try to make that change on just my node and push that out to the network, all the other computers go, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's different. That's not what we have in our records. So the majority wins. It's kind of like democratic vote. All the other computers show that your wallet's never had 50,000 Bitcoin. So no, we're going to reject that. And my attempt to overwrite or change or edit the global register is denied. That's I don't get to just make that edit. So one of the things that blockchain solves for humans, it's called trustless trustability. It's kind of cool. And what it means is I don't need to trust any one individual person in managing a register of information, because all of the history of this information it's there. And in the case of most blockchains, especially decentralized blockchains, the information is often public. So I can go on, and if I wanted, I could look up a wallet address and I could check every single time that's increased. So every time that I go back, I could check my wallet address and whether it's increased or decreased. I could look all the way back to 2009 and follow, or whenever the wallet was created, I could follow the path when it increased, decreased, when I sent things, who I sent, which account was sent to and from, and all of that is public. Now, if that's all being kept just in a little paper book in a drawer in my house, that's not public. And even if it's accessible, you might have to come and make a request. We have to meet up at a time. There's barriers to how you would be able to double check the book, or there's barriers to how you'd be able to confirm that what was written in the book and agreed hasn't been altered or edited. And blockchain comes to solve all that. So it's a register, it's like a giant spreadsheet's not doing it the justice that it deserves. It's like a giant database of almost any conceivable information that you could imagine. And lots of blockchains, since Bitcoin's quite simple in the information it stores online, but lots of blockchains, since Ethereum, things called the EVM, they allow us to store so much information, random variables, data. In the case of TreeCoin, we use the blockchain. Actually, that's the next question. So I'll answer that. I'll pause. Just to give like a cliffhanger for the following piece. Okay, welcome back. So my abrupt ending of part one was because I realized I was just about to walk into the second question. The second question we received from the audience, and this is again a tech-based question. It says, why does TreeCoin use the blockchain? So leading right in, I've talked about what a blockchain is and how it's this really big public immutable register. It's some way that we can, as humans, we can put information on a giant database on the internet, and then you don't have to take my word for it. You can check whether the information is correct or not based on when you entered or your own records. And then you can also know that I can't be manually making changes unless all the computers on the network agree or allow that. And so I can't make historical changes. If it's baked in the cake, it's in. And then we would need some kind of mutual agreement to change it. So turning to the question of why does TreeCoin use blockchain? What we found in Carbon World was that, very similar to the example of just storing keys and key registers in a book, you've got carbon credits and the data, the information about farms and projects. It's all being stored behind very opaque places, things that are difficult to get access to. If I'm a company, if my company wants to purchase carbon credits, often what I'm buying from the end user on the website, it's just a paper certificate. I don't have the underlying information. I have to trust the certificate. And so I'll use things for trust, like standards and stamps and names, government stamps, or the stamps of certain global standards. And those things will help me feel that I can trust that the certificate is real and legitimate. What if I actually just really want to dig into the information? What if I want to satisfy myself to check, hey, this 1 ton of carbon offset that I've purchased from this really cool farm here in Australia, what are they actually doing? What are the trees? What are the species of trees? Are they contributing anything to biodiversity? Where is it? Like, could I go and visit this farm maybe? Is it open to the public? Is it a small landholder? Is it a massive farm management company? These kinds of questions I don't usually have the opportunity of engaging in to that degree. So TreeCoin said, we're going to solve the trust problem in the carbon industry by making the information and the data unbelievably easy to access, so that anyone can go on, can probe the public blockchain and all the information, all the growth data, any of the data that we use in TreeCoin to mint tokens, to say, this is how we calculated the total carbon drawdown for these trees in this area at this geographical location. All that information that we use to mint tokens, that information is actually available, all the raw data. So users can go on, you can look at our atlas on the TreeCoin.global ecosystem page. So TreeCoin.global, and then you'll find your way to the metrics page, big world map atlas. You can dig in and look at projects. All that information is available. You don't need to take my word for it. You can go and check. And if you're really into crypto and a little bit of fun, you can go on the Poly Explorer. So TreeCoin currently runs on Polygon network on the blockchain. You can explore the contract, the TreeCoin contracts and smart contracts for minting all through the Polygon network. You can look at the hard, raw information, the timestamps of when and where things were minted, and which accounts have ownership over which geographic areas for carbon rights for minting. You can check the projects and whether or not the information has been consistent. Has a project actually been having audits every 12 months? Has this wallet address that's the owner of this particular forest, have they been making 12-month audits? And can you follow the breadcrumb trails where slowly their projects have increased, their trees have grown in size, and you've watched the number of TreeCoin being produced reflected on that? And then you can dig in, and if you want, you can look at the satellite images, you can look at the satellite data, you can look at the ground truth data where it's available. So that's why TreeCoin uses blockchain. We wanted to make all of the information and the data that we use public and available. And we found that the easiest way to do that was to use the blockchain to store most of that information, and where some of the information, images and photos that are too large to store on the blockchain themselves, the blockchain blocks that we produce, they contain very unique, called public URIs, unique information links which go to the download sections for those photographs. So we've done our best to try to work with the technology limitations for blockchain and make sure that it's all available to you. If you want to dig in, like I would want to dig in for my other companies, when I'm buying for one of my other companies I run, an IT asset company, if I buy TreeCoin to offset, I don't want to just buy random tokens that could be from the middle of Antarctica. I want to actually purchase things that are from real trees. Maybe they're really cool projects in Kenya that are helping revegetation, or maybe they're projects on super old olive farms in Tuscany, and I want to support the farm growth. So that's the answer to that question. If you've got more questions, send them in. You can always email us at hello@treecoin.global. And I reckon this has been a fun little one-on-one. We can do this again.